Hey everybody, let's talk some snow and then let's talk a bit about our long range forecast coming up here. So, if you don't know, we are looking at some snow here for the Wednesday night into Thursday morning time frame. We're going to talk about that right now. So, what you're looking at here is the NAM 00Z, so the latest forecast for that time frame, and we're starting it right here at 6 p.m. on Wednesday evening. And we're using the tropicaltidbits.com weather map here. So if I click into this here and then I use my little arrows, I can scroll through time, and you're seeing this low pressure center strengthening over time as it crosses uh, Illinois into Indiana eventually. But here at 9 p.m. on Wednesday, we're seeing snow breaking out across southern Minnesota, potentially further south than that, maybe even. This is the NAM, and it does differ from the GFS in the way that where they're placing the heaviest snows. Uh, right now, we see the snow come across overnight, and not a major snow event. This is going to be a quick hitter, but interesting to me is like the temperature profile. So we're going to talk about that a little bit after this, but snow in central, potentially up into northern Wisconsin a little bit. We'll see how the track actually comes through, and finishing off in central Wisconsin. This is 6 a.m. on Thursday morning, so likely to be snowing at that time frame. We'll see how well that accumulates on concrete and pavement, but and then ending towards the middle part of the morning on Thursday. Jumping over to higher level view, just to show you what's happening here. We at the 500 millibar level. As time goes on, we're going to be seeing an increasing jet there across our area. And then this low pressure system is going to be kicking through here around that time. It's part of this intensifying wave here. And it's kind of interesting to just watch that go through time. Really intensifying. So it's cool. As far as snowfall accumulations, I'm feeling more along the lines of 1 to 3. That's what the 10 to 1 is showing for snow accumulation here. And the NAM, all the models are very similar on magnitude of snow. They differ a little bit on placement. I I believe this is actually the European, the 12Z European from today, and showing this like somewhat anomalous lineup in here. But I feel like that the main zone of accumulation is likely to be in here somewhere. 1 to 3 inches is my guess. This is the European. If we go over the NAM, similar story, maybe a little less generous in southern Wisconsin, but you kind of get the point. And I think the timing is good for the snow accumulation. I don't know though about the temperatures, and so this is the one thing that I think might hinder this one a little bit. But if it can accumulate fast enough, maybe not. But snow, the temperatures at the time the snow begins on Wednesday evening likely to be in the lower to mid 30s, which is kind of warm, and during the day it's supposed to get to the 40s. Uh, Wednesday during the day into the 40s across southern Wisconsin, so that's sort of a negative in terms of accumulation. But we'll see how that plays out over time. Here's our 7 day. This is for Oshkosh, Wisconsin, just showing you we have the snow starting off on Thursday morning. I don't know how much, if we should even worry about Friday at this moment, but then it's smooth sailing for the rest of the week. Let's just take a closer look at the extended range, and I'm looking at just precipitation. There's no coloring in terms of type here, so it doesn't differentiate snow to rain, but showing European here throughout time. We're seeing our little system for the midweek coming through now, and then we go a little deeper into time, but we're not seeing any big slam dunk major weather event over the next, say, 7 to 10 days yet. That although once you get to that 7 to 10 day time frame, things can change. So just got to keep an eye on it. But I say solidly over the next 7 days, not too much. Let's shift gears a little bit. We're going to talk about the climate 8 to 14 day time frame and beyond potentially. I want to talk about the El Nino La Nina situation again. I did show this graphic on a previous update before, but just showing you we have a new update now for the November, December, January 3 month average, and it's a 2.0, so it's pretty strong El Nino. Recently the most strongest we've had was the 2015 El Nino. That's where we're at currently. I think it's interesting to note where we're going, right? So if we're El Nino now, the forecast is for us to switch and go to La Nina for the next fall time frame. Like that's a pretty quick switch over. So this gets me curious about how this might play into our weather patterns. There could be some chaos in the summer time frame. Right now, it's looking like more springy time frame. But anytime you get this flux right from one extreme to the other, crazy things can happen. The other thing I wanted to point out is the AMO. Now, I can't get it on my mind just the similarities between our weather, like how mild it's been this year, and also just this peaking AMO we seem to have at the moment, right? AMO, if you're not familiar with it, is a decadal oscillating cycling teleconnection. It's correlated to the weather patterns across the Atlantic Ocean and sea surface temperatures across the Atlantic Ocean. Right now, it's very warm across the Atlantic. Also, if you read up on the AMO, it's tied to the PDO, so the oceans are kind of working together. To me, it seems like at the moment we're kind of in this overturning situation where everything's warm, right? So again, what goes up must come down. So where this ends up bottoming out in the future, if it's a year from now or 3 years from now or 10 years from now, I don't know. But it's just an interesting concept. But this is the weather.plus / AMO website. I'll put the links in the description. But yeah, we're way up there. I know it depends on what data set you use that shows like the peak, but yeah, we're definitely peaking at the moment. So this could be one possible explanation. I wish I had the actual anomalies related to the AMO in my hand, but I don't at the moment. So something for you to like look into and research. It might be maybe it will turn some light bulbs on for you. Yeah, not too much else to talk about on the sea surface temperature, but this is interesting. Next, let's go into the MJO real quick. I think this is an interesting story too. And right now we are sitting in phase 8. We've been in phase 7 or 8 for quite a while doing these loop-de-loops. And normally you kind of go around this clock in a counterclockwise fashion, right? So naturally you would think, oh, 1 or 2, those phases would be coming up soon. But actually, the GFS and the European ensembles are in pretty good agreement to bring this through the center of the neutral circle, which means that we kind of lose our MGO cheat sheet in a way for a minute. But what this is telling me is slightly different story. If we're going to be heading in this direction, if we're going to be going through the neutral circle, I'm going to assume that at some point in the next towards the late February into potentially March, we would be popping out somewhere in the 3 or 4 range. If that is the case, again, that's just a guess at this moment. Can we expect? So right now I have the January, February, March composites here for temperature, just showing you the different phases. Right now we're in 7 and 8. And you can see that 7 here is warm across the eastern United States. Phase 8 is quite warm across the western, sort of upper part of the United States. And that's kind of, I feel like, where we're at the moment. But if we were to follow this neutral circle around, like in a natural way, phase 1 and phase 2 are quite chilly across the United States. But that's not where we're heading. So what we could be doing is going from 7 and 8 straight over to 4, and then repeating the cycle, staying in this warm. So phases 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are warm phases. So to sum it all up, I feel like that's more where we're heading as opposed to the colder phases based on the MGO. And this can play out over the next few weeks into March potentially. Let's talk about what the CPC is forecasting for the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook and also precipitation. Right now, their 8 to 14 day, I feel, is pretty modest in terms of the amount of warmth that could be across the United States. Again, it is pretty far out, but they're suggesting it's going to be above average across the central United States. So naturally, that pattern would probably favor warm to mild conditions across Wisconsin and the Great Lakes as well. I think everything we've pointed to recently would agree with that in terms of snow cover, lack thereof, just the overall pattern and just the way things have been. In terms of precipitation, okay, maybe a little bump across the Great Lakes in that 8 to 14 day time frame. We shall see. We shall see. Looking at the EPS at the moment, Also showing that warmth. This is the 10 to 14 day time frame, but I guess you could roughly correspond that to the 8 to 14. I don't think you're going to see much difference one way or the other. Definitely warm across the central United States, so this should not come as a surprise. Lastly, if you are still interested and you caught our last video about these 2024, the February tornadoes in southern Wisconsin, that was just wild and crazy. There's more information out there. I'll put the link to this story in the description below. But yeah, there's a lot out there. This is from the National Weather Service in Milwaukee, and you can look at like the tornado details, which we're going to cover the paths on that. They're sticking with an EF1 near Albany and a EF2 near Evansville. So cool there. Storm reports, and then you can also see some information about the environment that contributed to those storms. So please be sure to go check that out, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching.